The witness protection failure when hiding doesn't work. Michael Torres from Denver discovered that conventional escape methods offer no protection against these operatives. After his UAP encounter over Rocky Mountain National Park in April 2025, he watched news coverage of other witnesses receiving visits from men in black. He decided he wouldn't wait around to become another intimidation case. Within 48 hours of his sighting, he implemented an escape plan he'd been developing since his military service ended. He liquidated his savings account, closed his credit cards, and sold his car for cash to an individual buyer. No financing records, no dealership paperwork, no electronic trail. He destroyed his cell phone, canceled all subscriptions, and told his landlord he was moving out of state for a new job. His friends and family received carefully crafted stories about accepting a position with a remote company that required extensive travel. Torres drove to a truck stop in Nebraska and purchased a used motorcycle from a private seller using cash and false identification documents he'd acquired years earlier during his intelligence work. He rode the bike to a small town in Montana, where he rented a cabin from an elderly rancher who preferred cash payments and minimal paperwork. The property sat 15 miles from the nearest neighbor, accessible only by a dirt road that barely qualified as passable. He adopted the identity of a freelance writer researching rural American communities. The cover story explained his cash payments, solitary lifestyle, and reluctance to discuss his background in detail. He grew a beard, changed his hair color, and altered his clothing style completely. The physical transformation was dramatic enough that former colleagues would have trouble recognizing him in casual encounters. Torres established new routines that avoided all electronic surveillance systems. He shopped at small local stores that didn't use security cameras or computerized point-of-sale systems. He paid for everything in cash, never used credit cards or bank accounts, and avoided any activities that would create digital records. His communication with the outside world ceased entirely. No phone calls, no internet access, no social media activity, no email correspondence. 3 weeks into his isolation, Torres noticed unusual aircraft activity over his remote location. Small drones appeared periodically, following flight patterns that suggested systematic surveillance rather than recreational use. The devices flew too high for detailed visual identification, but maintained consistent schedules and coverage areas around his cabin. Local ranchers mentioned increased military helicopter activity, though no official exercises were scheduled in the region. The psychological pressure began with subtle signs that his location had been compromised. Fresh tire tracks appeared on the access road leading to his cabin, despite no scheduled visits from the property owner or delivery services. The tracks showed patterns consistent with government vehicles rather than the pickup trucks and farm equipment typically used in the area. Someone had been scouting his hiding place while maintaining enough distance to avoid direct confrontation. His mail delivery stopped without explanation. The rural postal route that had been servicing his area for decades suddenly excluded his address from regular service. When he contacted the post office using a payphone 20 miles away, officials claimed no record existed of mail service to his location. His address had been removed from their delivery database by federal directive, though they couldn't identify which agency had issued the instruction. Supply runs became increasingly difficult as local businesses began treating him with suspicion and hostility. Store owners who had previously been friendly and welcoming suddenly seemed nervous about his presence. Several establishments refused to accept his cash payments, claiming they couldn't verify his identification or needed additional documentation for routine purchases. On May 15th, exactly 3 weeks and 2 days after his disappearance, 2 men in perfect black suits appeared at his cabin door. They carried no identification, drove no visible vehicle, and somehow accessed his remote location without triggering any of his early warning systems. Torres had been monitoring the single access road continuously, yet these operatives appeared without any advanced detection. The psychological impact was immediate and devastating. These men knew his real name, his military background, and specific details about his UAP sighting that he'd never shared with anyone. They referenced his escape plan, including specific locations where he'd purchased supplies, routes he'd taken during his relocation, and conversations he'd had with local residents. Their knowledge extended to his current daily routines, including the times he usually ate meals and his preferred hiking trails around the property. The operatives explained that his attempts at disappearing had been monitored from the beginning. They knew about his financial transactions before leaving Denver, his motorcycle purchase in Nebraska, and his arrangements with the Montana rancher. They had detailed records of his movements, purchases, and activities throughout his 3 weeks of supposed isolation. His entire escape plan had been transparent to their surveillance capabilities. They demonstrated their tracking abilities by showing him photographs taken during his journey to Montana. Images of him at gas stations, rest stops, and supply purchases that he believed were completely private. The photographs were high-quality surveillance shots taken from concealed positions, showing professional intelligence gathering operations that had been documenting his movements since he left Denver. Tours asked how they'd found him so quickly despite his extensive precautions. One operative explained that conventional hiding techniques were useless against their resources. They could track individuals through methods that didn't rely on electronic surveillance, financial records, or traditional investigative procedures. His military training and intelligence background had prepared him for standard government surveillance, but their capabilities operated beyond anything he'd learned during his service. The operatives revealed knowledge of his family's activities during his absence. They knew his sister had been asking questions about his sudden disappearance. His mother had filed a missing person report that mysteriously vanished from police databases, and his former colleagues had been contacted by unknown individuals asking about his whereabouts and psychological stability. His attempt to protect his family by disappearing had instead exposed them to harassment and investigation. The witness realized that conventional methods of avoiding detection were completely useless against these individuals and their impossible surveillance capabilities. But what disturbed him most was learning that his case wasn't isolated. These same tracking capabilities were being deployed against witnesses whose encounters coincided with specific government activities that suggested official knowledge of these operations. The Pentagon connection, official denials, and unofficial truths. The timing patterns between Pentagon disclosures and witness intimidation reveal coordination that extends deep into government operations. Every major AARO report release triggered a wave of Men in Black encounters within 72 hours. The March disclosure update preceded 5 separate intimidation visits. The June congressional briefing was followed by 4 more encounters. The September technical assessment report led to 3 additional cases. Someone with access to official UAP investigations is monitoring disclosure activities and responding immediately to prevent witnesses from contributing information that might expand on government findings. The All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office received 757 UAP reports between May 2023 and June 2024, with 485 incidents occurring during the reporting period itself. But the 2025 data shows a different story. Witnesses who submitted detailed reports to AARO began receiving intimidation visits before their cases appeared in official statistics. The timing suggests someone with access to AARO databases is identifying high-value witnesses and targeting them for suppression before their testimonies reach public disclosure. Pentagon officials use carefully crafted language when questioned about these intimidation operations. They neither confirm nor deny knowledge of Men in Black activities. Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, AARO's former director, responded to congressional questions about witness intimidation by stating that AARO investigates reports through rigorous scientific frameworks and data-driven approaches, but couldn't comment on operational security matters that might interfere with ongoing investigations. Current AARO leadership maintains similar positions. When pressed about witness reports of government intimidation, officials referenced their commitment to transparent disclosure while acknowledging that certain aspects of UAP investigations require classified handling. They emphasize that AARO operates within established legal frameworks, but avoid direct statements about whether other agencies or entities might be conducting unauthorized witness contact operations. The jurisdictional confusion becomes apparent when witnesses attempt to report Men in Black encounters through proper channels. AARO refers intimidation complaints to the Inspector General's office. The IG sends cases to the FBI for investigation. The Bureau claims these incidents fall outside their domestic terrorism or civil rights violation categories. Local law enforcement files reports that disappear from their systems within weeks. Each agency passes responsibility to another, creating a bureaucratic circle that ensures no investigation ever occurs. Pentagon sources privately express growing concern about these unauthorized operations. Military personnel involved in UAP data collection describe receiving informal warnings about maintaining operational security regarding witness identities and contact information. The warnings don't come through normal command channels, but through backdoor communications that suggest parallel oversight structures operating within the defense establishment. One Pentagon official, speaking on condition of anonymity, described the internal tensions surrounding UAP disclosure efforts. Transparency advocates within AARO push for comprehensive witness interviews and detailed case documentation. Simultaneously, security officials expressed concerns about protecting classified sources and methods. The official suggested that some elements within the defense community view aggressive witness intimidation as counterproductive to legitimate security interests. The disconnect between official policy and field operations creates confusion at multiple levels. AARO's mandate includes investigating UAP reports to address potential national security threats, but witnesses reporting the most significant encounters receive visits that discourage further cooperation with official investigations. This contradiction undermines the scientific approach that AARO claims to employ in analyzing UAP phenomena. Congressional oversight committees receive classified briefings about UAP investigations, but remain unaware of intimidation campaigns targeting witnesses. Representatives pushing for greater transparency express frustration about gaps in information flow between AARO and legislative oversight functions. Some committee members privately question whether executive branch agencies are withholding information about parallel operations that might compromise official disclosure efforts. The Pentagon's 2024 report stated that no evidence from government investigations, academic research, or official review panels confirmed UAP sightings represented extraterrestrial technology. The report refuted claims of reverse engineering extraterrestrial technology, stating there was no empirical evidence supporting such assertions. Yet witnesses receiving Men in Black visits report intimidation, specifically focused on preventing disclosure of information that might contradict these official conclusions. The timing correlation suggests someone with detailed knowledge of AARO operations is working to prevent witness testimonies that might expand beyond officially acceptable parameters. Intimidation campaigns target witnesses whose accounts include technological observations, physical evidence, or interaction details that exceed the scope of conventional UAP reporting. These cases involve encounters that might challenge official conclusions about the nature and origin of UAP phenomena. Defense contractors involved in UAP-related research describe receiving security briefings that emphasize protecting proprietary information and classified research methods. The briefings include warnings about unauthorized contact from individuals claiming government authority. Contractors report confusion about which agencies have legitimate authority to request UAP-related information and which contacts should be reported as potential security threats. The internal conflicts extend beyond Pentagon walls into broader intelligence community operations. Sources within different agencies describe competing priorities between disclosure advocates and compartmented access programs that maintain strict information control. Some intelligence personnel privately acknowledge that witness intimidation operations exist, but operate outside normal oversight structures that would ensure accountability and legal compliance. The shadow operations targeting UAP witnesses operate with apparent impunity despite violating multiple federal laws regarding surveillance, intimidation, and obstruction of official investigations. The perpetrators demonstrate detailed knowledge of Pentagon UAP programs while conducting activities that directly contradict official government policy. This suggests either a rogue element within the national security apparatus or an external organization with extensive infiltration of government UAP investigations. The fundamental question remains whether these Men in Black operatives represent a misguided attempt to protect legitimate national security interests or a deliberate effort to suppress information that contradicts official government positions about UAP phenomena. Their sophisticated capabilities and unlimited resources suggest backing from sources with access to the highest levels of classified information and advanced surveillance technology. When witnesses refused to be intimidated by traditional methods, these operatives began revealing capabilities that challenged everything we thought we knew about current technology. The technology demonstration showing their true capabilities. The Tampa case in July 2025 marked the first time we documented Men in Black actually demonstrating their technological capabilities rather than just threatening consequences. The witness, a former electronics engineer, had been asking too many questions about how they obtained their impossible surveillance data. That's when they decided to show him exactly what they were capable of. The operative pulled out a device about the size of a smartphone but thicker, with a matte black surface that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. He pointed it at the witness's home security system control panel mounted on the wall about 8 feet away. The device emitted no visible light, no sound, no indication it was even active. But within seconds, every camera, motion detector, and alarm sensor in the house went dark. The main control panel's display flickered once, then went completely black. The witness checked his smartphone app that monitored the security system. The app showed all devices as offline, but not due to power failure or network interruption. The system diagnostics indicated each component was receiving power and network connectivity, but it simply stopped functioning. When he asked what they'd done, the operative explained that electronic systems could be selectively disabled without affecting their power sources or damaging the equipment. They reactivated his security system with the same device. Every camera, sensor, and control panel came back online simultaneously, showing normal operation as if nothing had happened. But when the witness reviewed the recorded footage later, the video files from the time period during their visit had been completely erased, not corrupted or damaged, but cleanly removed from the storage drives without affecting surrounding timestamps or file structures. The Phoenix witness experienced something far more disturbing during her encounter in August. The operatives arrived while she was experiencing anxiety related to stress from their intimidation campaign. One operative produced a small handheld device and asked if she'd like to feel more comfortable during their conversation. Before she could respond, he activated the device. Her anxiety symptoms disappeared instantly. The racing heartbeat, shallow breathing, and nervous tension that had been building for days simply vanished. She described feeling unnaturally calm and focused, as if her brain chemistry had been altered by external means. The emotional distress that had been overwhelming her for weeks was completely absent, replaced by a detached, almost euphoric state of mind. She could think clearly about their conversation, but felt emotionally disconnected from the threatening implications of what they were telling her. When the device's effects wore off, her natural anxiety responses returned, but now she understood they had technology that could directly influence her neurological functions. The realization that they could manipulate her emotional and mental state at will created a level of helplessness that pure intimidation could never achieve. They demonstrated control over her physiology that transcended anything she thought possible. Multiple witnesses described similar neurological effects during their encounters: temporary paralysis, mental confusion, memory gaps, and altered emotional states that begin when the operatives arrive and disappear after they leave. The symptoms are too consistent across different cases to be coincidental stress responses. These individuals are using technology that directly affects human nervous system function. The Colorado witness reported complete motor function paralysis during the most intense part of his interrogation. He remained conscious and could hear everything being said, but couldn't move his arms, legs, or even speak for approximately 10 minutes. The paralysis occurred without any visible devices being used and affected only his voluntary motor functions. His autonomic systems like breathing and heartbeat continued normally. When the effect ended, his physical capabilities returned instantly with no lingering weakness or discomfort. Transportation capabilities demonstrated by these operatives suggest access to technology that operates outside known physics principles. The Michigan witness watched two men in black walk down her driveway and disappear around the corner of her house. She immediately followed them, reaching the corner less than 15 seconds later. The entire area was empty. No vehicles, no pedestrians, no evidence anyone had been there.